Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, we're live right now, y'all. We're just getting everything set up. We know we don't start till 12:35, but for those who aren't aware, I like to introduce my co-host from from Jennifer's Open Book. Just briefly, like 30 seconds. Tell everybody what you all about. 30 seconds.
I'm Jennifer from Jennifer's Open Book. I am all about love, motivation, embracing yourself, embracing your beauty, embracing your blindness, visual impairment, embracing everything that is about you. I want you to feel good about being you.
Didn't I say 30 seconds and you gave me a whole minute?
Was it all a minute? I think it was only 30. I don't even think it was 30
Really?
seconds.
That's my girl, man. She's very knowledgeable about a lot of things. I'm trying to check the time so uh we can start this thing in a few. 12:28 right now. And my name is Anthony Park, of course, and I'm glad to actually have her. We're going to be talking today. We haven't started yet, trying to let some people come through. We're going to be talking about embracing our embracing your blindness and what have you. Think that's a pretty good topic to start talk about.
I I like it. It goes along with everything. Yes.
It also goes along with your topic, which is entitled.
It's okay to feel angry was my last one.
And just briefly, tell everybody what that is about with 30 seconds.
I you're gonna go with these 30 seconds. Uh, I was talking about our different stages of emotions that we go through when we're blind or when we're just losing our sight, or like it's for people who were born visually impaired or people who lose their sight later on. We go through different stages, and one of those stages is anger. I touched on three. I touched on depression, anger, and acceptance. So, and mostly I spoke about anger because we feel really angry a lot of the times. And these things don't completely go away. They come and go in waves. It's not something that you go through in the beginning, the middle, and the end. It
Hmm.
comes and goes. So it's something that we have to deal with. And the reason why I made the video is number one, I've been seeing a lot of angry people. I've been meeting a lot of angry blind people, and I wanted our friends and family and just general public to see this video so that they can understand what we're going through and maybe be a little sympathetic and try to be more helpful. Don't like a lot of people won't approach um, us because they've run into some angry people and they think that we're all angry all the time. So I think that it's very important for everyone to look at that video and just kind of understand what we go through. And I
Okay.
know that that was more than 30 seconds.
Yes, it was. And I didn't want to be rude because people. But yeah, if y'all want to check out the rest of it, y'all definitely can go to her channel and check it out. We got 4 minutes before we actually start the show, but we like always want to come in and just give a little prelude to what's going on and what have you. And uh, that can help me uh, eat up some of the time and whatnot. Jennifer, basically, how things been going with you and your little kid? Briefly, 30 seconds.
Great. There's 1 second. No, me and my baby, we're doing really good. She's back in school this week. She was out last week with a really bad cold. I don't want to call it the flu because I paid $40 for a flu shot, so I'm not even going to call it the flu. I paid too much money to call it a flu. So, but she had a really bad cold and a fever and everything. So I had to deal with that last week. But this week she is great. She's excited because I'm coming to her school today to read a story to her class.
Oh, that's good.
We
Stop
have
right there. Don't give
stickers.
don't give it all the way.
I'm
Uh,
not. We
okay,
have stickers. She's excited about the stickers in the story.
that's good. That's good. I can't wait till my little boy call me over to read a story. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about embracing your blindness in a few about 3 minutes, and we Want you all to come on in the room. Come on in the room. Yeah, and and enjoy what we have to offer. It's gonna be like maybe 20 minutes, and we just need 20 minutes of your time to let y'all know what it is about embracing your blindness. And then we're gonna also correlate it with not just embracing your blindness, but embracing whatever it is that you have. You can be confined to a wheelchair. You could be you can have a hearing impaired. You can be mentally challenged. Whatever the case may be, please embrace whatever it is and be the best. And is that right, Jay?
That's good. Any impairment that you have, anything from blindness to hemorrhoids, whatever issue you
I'm dead.
I'm joking.
I am
But
dead. She ain't say hemorrhoids.
whatever you got going on, you need to embrace it.
Yeah. How can I come back from that one? But anyway, yeah, that's Jennifer. Reason why I think she said it because on her channel is no filters. So
See,
yeah, I guess.
I'm sorry, I have to filter myself when you.
But as I so
You know, my channel.
are there any other things that you embrace? I mean, should embrace hemorrhoids. What else?
Just any, like, seriously, anything that you're going through, embrace it. Who was that? It was like somebody, I always hear it on TV. People say pain is just weakness leaving the body. So embrace it, embrace everything. It's You have to turn it around and turn it in. I always say turn it into something positive.
Okay. Well, it's 12:34, and enough filibustering. I'm going to be back on the top. I'm gonna play this little interlude, and we're gonna get it started. All right, boo.
Let's go.
All right.
That's right. We're on live. We're gonna get this thing done one way or another. What's up to y'all?
Welcome to Third Eye Visions. Let me turn this down. Welcome to Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind. These phones. Welcome to Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind, stimulate your mind, and welcome all kind. My name is Anthony Parker. I am lucky to be joined by my co-host, none other than Janelle from Jinnefer's Open Book. What's up, girl?
Hey.
How you doing? Cool, cool, cool. Embracing my blindness. We're gonna keep it like that, mine and yours. And Jennifer is going to be joining me, and we're going to be talking about why you should embrace your blindness and not hide it. And as we talked about at the top of the hour, not only just embracing your blindness, but because of the fact that we are blind, we're going to be talking about that. But any impairment that you may have, deal with it, accept it, and move on from it. So, with that being said, I would like for you all to like, share, subscribe. As this phone giving me all kind of notifications. We are live. Okay, cool. Like, share, subscribe, hit that comment. Uh, Give us hit the notification bell. All that. So without delay, as I always do, I want to bring in my co-host Jennifer. What up, girl?
What's going on? Let's
Not a
get it
thing.
started. Let's go.
Oh, Jennifer, someone said hi to you. A girl named Angel. You know her?
Oh, maybe. Hi, Angel.
Okay. Well, hi, Angel.
I do now.
Okay. She's okay. That's my girl. Anyway, so we're gonna be talking about embracing your blindness. Thank you, Angel. Please stay tuned. It's a young lady I used to know way back in the gap. So please subscribe to her channel. It's Jennifer's Open Book. That's spell it right quick so we can move on from that.
JINNERFER space OPEN space BOOK.
Okay, you got that, Angel. Please subscribe. Go do that. Don't do it now, but do it when this is over because we don't want you to miss embracing your blindness. The reason why I wanted to talk about this because I had run across her her topic last night. She posted a video and it's entitled tell them
It's
again.
okay. It's okay to feel angry.
Okay to feel anger. Now briefly, just briefly tell them why you had come up with that, because it was a great topic and it was a lead in from what I am doing. Why did you come up with that topic?
It came about because I was noticing a lot of posts from blind people who were just losing their sight, and some of them probably weren't, but they were really angry and they were lashing out. And I wanted to I wanted to talk to them, but I also wanted to talk to our friends and family so that they can understand what we're going through. And anger is one of the three stages of emotions that I spoke about in my video.
Okay, cool. Now, embracing your blindness, what actually does that mean to you when you uh, hear someone say that, or you when you hear me say it when I brought it off to your attention? What does that actually mean to you?
What came to me was my final my final phase that I spoke about, and that was acceptance. And it was the final one because eventually you have to accept the fact that you are blind, visually impaired, or what other impairment that you have, because this is something that you have to live with. There are some cures for some of those things, and God bless those who can actually benefit from those. But a lot of us, there is no cure for our blindness. So it's something that we have to accept and that we have to live with. And so we have to embrace it and we have to live our life. And like I always say, turn what is negative into something positive.
True. Now, I've run across a lot of people who are visually impaired, and they didn't want it, or I'm not saying that they didn't. They had problems trying to accept the fact that they were visually impaired, not totally blind, but visually impaired, and they still want to see if they can, they still want to think that they could see as well as, a sighted person having 20/20 things of that nature. And it kind of used to make me upset because I'm like, man, look, whatever it is that you're dealing with, if you accept it, you probably will be better off as opposed you're using more energy trying to not accept what it is and trying to fake it, as opposed to just accepting what you have before you and just dealing with it and what have you. And we talked off camera before. Why do you think a lot of people don't want to really accept the fact that they have an impairment in whatever way, shape, or form?
They don't know why they don't want to accept it. Some people are embarrassed by it, believe it or not. They're embarrassed by it. They think that it makes them less of a person. Pride. They don't like to ask for help. They don't want to be seen using a cane or a dog or anything like that. And the thing about that is if you try to pretend like it's not so, it doesn't make it go away. Pretending that it's not there does not make it go away. It's something that you have to accept. And you can walk around without a cane if you have partial sight. Some people can um they're okay with walking around without a cane because they see shadows, and but sometimes shadows can be deceiving for
Mhm.
one thing. And I mean, what's more embarrassing, having something that's going to keep you from, I don't know, tripping over a rock or a ditch or something, or actually falling on your face in front of a crowd of people. You know what I mean? So eventually, and it's best to do it in the beginning, but I understand, like I said, there are different stages of emotion that we go through. But it's best to try to accept it in the beginning. And if you don't accept it in the beginning, eventually you're going to have to accept it, and that's when you can begin your life.
Now that's good. That's a good uh, example what you just stated. But do you think a totally blind person versus a sighted person, the acceptance stage or embracing stage is equal, or is it harder for a person who has a little sight to embrace their impairment, as opposed to someone who is totally blind and has gone through so much, and then now they feel like now they realize that they're blind and they don't want to embrace it? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. So with this, it has a lot to do with personality. Mostly everything has to do with personality, but it has, like, one thing is not necessarily harder than the other. I don't think that a certain, like, certain people, like partially blind people or totally blind people can embrace it easier or anything. It's all about personality. You can be born completely blind, and as a child you don't know any better, but once you get older you realize that there are obstacles and things that you can't do as easily as everybody else around you, and so you like you've been blind your whole life, but it's really hard for you to accept that, you know what I mean? Where and then someone who loses their sight later on in life, or someone who's partially blind who's starting to go completely blind, they've been able to see, and now they can't. And again, it has to do with personality. It's hard to accept that, you know what I
That,
mean? So it has a lot to do with personality. At what point in your life you accept it, if you finally decide to accept it.
that's deep because it really does. As I sit and listen to you talk about that, it really it really does depend on the personality. Because as far as I've been blind ever since I was 2 years of age, and I've embraced it ever since I knew how to embrace what embrace was, the definition, whatever, just dealing with it. So it was easy for me to do it. But had I lost it later on in life, I don't know. I mean, with my personality and it is now, I probably would have been able to embrace it with no problem. But as I mentioned earlier, there are people who just don't want to embrace it. Even blind people that, totally blind people, it's just so hard for them to accept the fact and move on. And you kind of like hurting yourself because with the emergence, if you accept your blindness, with the emergence of technology and things that are offered now as a blind person, it's much easier to accept it as opposed to maybe back in the earlier years and time when it was there was nothing and you were like kept out of the loop. You want to comment on that?
Oh yeah, modern technology has helped a lot, and I've seen, my short 40 years of life, I've seen really big changes in technology, and I've seen how we can do more. Even, when I was in school I had a hard time because I didn't have everything that I need, and now it's possible to get those things. What is strange is that I do see some of the same struggles, um, that I did when I was younger too.
Talk
But with
about
modern technology, it's you can do just about any and everything. Now that doesn't, again, like I said before, those emotions, those different phases, they come in waves. So even though we do get to that point of acceptance, something in our life is going to happen. We're going to be in a situation, and it's going to send us back into the depression or into anger. And if we have the right personality, the right frame of mind, we can go back into that point of acceptance and just be like, you know what, forget it. This is what I'm going to
yep.
do. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it comes in waves. So it's not as simple as just embracing it and keeping it that way, always embracing it. It's really it's not that easy. It's difficult to deal with. It's something that's difficult to deal with, but you can. And like I said, it comes in waves.
And even if you do embrace it and you still feel a bit of sorrow, for lack of better words I can find at this point in time, that's okay as long as you've accepted, because we're all human. You can accept something and then understand that the reality of it is I still can't do such and such. But as long as you accept what it is, what is there, and know how to deal with it, it's cool, as opposed to just don't want to accept what what reality has put before you at all. You follow what I'm saying? Like you can,
Mhm.
yeah, you can accept being blind, but then knowing that even though I am blind, there are obstacles that I have to go through. But the fact of it is, I am blind. I'm accepting, or I am confined to a wheelchair, and I'm accepting, and I'll move on, and I'll make this basically make it work for you. You follow what I'm saying?
Right, and that's what you have to do. You have to make it work for you. um I like, sometimes I get a little sad because I
Hmm.
can't see things. Like my daughter, she'll be 5 this month, and she kind of understands that I'm blind, but in some ways she doesn't understand, and that's because she sees me every day, and in her head, her mommy can see I do everything. So, but I have to remind her that mommy's eyes don't work. So some things she wants me to look at. She'll say, "Mommy, look." um you see that? And I say, "Mommy can't see it, you have to tell me about it." And sometimes that makes me a little sad that you know
Yep,
I can't see what she's showing me, or she'll ask me what something is and I can't describe it to her. So and in those cases it makes me sad. However, there's a solution. um I'll ask her to describe it to me, and I might be able to tell her what it is from there. Or she'll put something in my hand and I'll tell her what it is. Or I'll say, "I tell you what, when we go over Nana's house this weekend, well, ask Nana." Because we all, there's always
talk.
a way of doing things. So that's where the acceptance comes in.
That's
You
real
have
talk.
to accept the fact that this is your limitation. You have to find another way of doing it. The cutest thing that my daughter ever said to me was, we go to Walmart like all the time.
Hmm.
So we were walking to the bus, and she said, "Mommy, I don't have a cane." And I said, "Well, you don't need one, baby. Your eyes work just fine." She says, "Your eyes don't work?" I said, "No." She said, "That's okay. We'll go and buy some new ones. We'll go to the store today."
That's cute.
I'm like, "Yes," because Walmart sells eyes.
That's cute. Which leads me to say, as we you know say this, that kids, yeah, don't, because you have kids, or if you have kids and you've embraced and accepted the blindness, don't try to pretend that you still can function as a, just a sighted person, whatever. Like what my co-host just mentioned, that was a good analogy as to how to deal with kids if you have them, and if you don't have sight and you have kids and they want you to interact in their world. That's the best way. I give you props for that. And whenever I'm almost at that stage when it comes to my little boy, he's understanding whatnot, and I'm just, it's a learning process. So I'm glad that that you are.
It's something that happens over the years. I have nieces and nephews, and of course, they didn't understand right away. And I had my one of my actually two of my nephew, three of my nephews, they understood like just really quick. By the time they were 3, they just knew. I have a niece, when she kind of understood, but when she turned 6, she started asking
Like,
questions.
yeah, yeah, okay.
And I was ready for those questions. Like, she knew that I couldn't see, but she wanted to know what it looked like. Like, was it totally black? Like, she was asking questions like that. And
Mm.
I was like, yes, ask questions, baby. Ask questions.
As we come conclude, give a few helpful tips that would help people. If you're going through a situation where you don't know how to embrace it, give them some helpful tips that can be used by them to help them get over that hump, to say, okay, yeah, this is me. I accept it, and I'm gonna deal with it. So, so I won't have any problem, because as I mentioned at the top of the show, you're wasting so much time dealing with not accepting and embracing the fact that you are impaired and whatnot. And we're not saying that there are not going to be bumps in the road. You're not going to be upset, or you're going to have these, God, why me type situations. But in order to make you feel a little better, I'm gonna allow my co-host to give you some helpful tips that can help you get over.
Okay, first, don't hold it in because you will give yourself an ulcer. Find someone to talk to. Find someone who's willing to listen. Don't get angry when people aren't willing to listen, because everybody's not polite, okay? And I would recommend finding maybe a professional, although sometimes they don't understand. You could go to a psychiatrist and they don't get it because it's not anything that they dealt with. But find someone to talk to. If you can't find someone, I always tell people, find me on Facebook and inbox me, because I'm always willing to listen and I'll try to help you through it. You have to be willing to accept help,
Mm,
because some people just like being miserable. If that's you, those aren't the people that I want to talk to, because nothing that I can say to you is going to make you feel better if that's just the way that you want to be. Also, if you are just losing your sight, if you're losing your sight later on in life, I would recommend that you join some organizations and go be around other visually impaired people and see people who have less sight than you, or people who have been blind longer than you, doing things that you can do so that you can see what you can do. um, Take deep breaths, face your fears. You have to eventually come out of that pity party, come out of that angry phase, and face your fears and go out there. There's so much technology. You can use a computer. I use a computer every day with JAWS, with the JAWS program. If you can get Apple
Hmm.
stuff,
Hmm.
they come with voiceover, automatically in their settings. I use iPhone for everything. I play games.
Hmm.
I Google stuff. I have like so many apps on my phone that I can use. So there are ways of doing everything. You just have to find those ways. And like I said, I would advise that you join some organizations, find a lighthouse, find a blind center, find, Google it. You can find it. Just like Google organizations for the blind. And there are people who can teach you. I went through a program when I was a teenager, and I stayed in an apartment for 6 weeks and learned how to live on my own. And they don't just throw you in there.
Hmm.
They give you direction. They help you to sort your food, sort your money. If you like to carry cash, I love debit and credit cards. Thank you,
Okay,
Miss Clinton.
that's what a lot of people.
You can learn Braille. I would recommend that people learn Braille. A lot of people are not learning Braille anymore because they love the audio, but learn Braille. There's Braille on elevators and on walls and on doors. So you need to learn Braille. Also, it's like a lot of fun to read if you really get into reading. I love reading Braille. Braille. But there's so much that you can do once you finally accept the fact that you are blind or visually impaired, and nothing is going to change. It doesn't stop anything. I am a mother. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a vice president of my chapter of the NFB. I am a big sister. I'm the oldest. I have a younger sister and brother. I'm an auntie. You know what I mean? I move. I love the theater. I love the movies. I go to concerts. I love R&B and hip hop. Like, I move around. Nothing stops me. If I let the world scare me into staying in my house, I would fall into a deep depression, and I wouldn't want to be here anymore. And I said this yesterday. If you go and watch my show, anyone who is considering no longer being here, death is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. You can't come back from that. And
Okay.
there are people who love you.
Um, okay, that's cool. I got a question from Gina. She wanted to ask, and she's just tuning in. Have you ever worked before? And I guess it encompasses the fact that you've embraced your blindness and you've got out into the world and done what you had to do. But she wants to know, with that being said, have you ever worked before? Just briefly.
I worked for Marriott for 5 years. I worked for Geauga Lake. Well, it was they had switched to Six Flags in Cleveland. I worked there for about a month before I got bored with it. I was a receptionist for a little while, and I went to school for massage therapy. So yes, I worked and went to school.
Okay. Thank you. And I want to, while we're waiting for other people to join me, if they decide, um, to piggyback off of what she said, if you don't embrace who you are, your blindness, if you don't embrace your blindness, which basically the title is, you are missing out. Because as my co-host had presented earlier, there are a lot of things that are there for you that you can take advantage of. You, even if you decide to get into the dating scene, there are things that, by if you embrace your blindness and be sure of who you are and secure in your own skin, then that person who you are trying to pursue may look at it as this person has a great deal of confidence. This person has this person is not afraid to approach. This person is not afraid of being visually impaired and whatnot. And they may give you a chance, or they may not, or they may develop a friendship that will allow them to learn. So with that being said, as I mentioned, it's not just being blind. It's not just being blind. It's just being, if you confine it to which, whatever the impairment may be, just be comfortable, accept, embrace whatever it is that you have, and
Yes,
that
there are some benefits.
right.
There are some benefits. Like you could jump the line in some places. Like
Look at
go to
you.
the handicap line.
Look at you.
I've been pulled up on stage by famous people. I've been like pushed to the front of the line to get autographs and got hugs from famous people. And like they just can't believe I'm blind and I'm there. It was
And let me tell
a
you one, as a blind person, the fact that I've embraced, I've gotten a chance to feel on some beautiful women.
oh goodness
Exactly. So,
gracious.
you know,
Oh, I went to the strip club. The stripper is so
now that you as we get ready to close, let me say this. Speaking of strip clubs, when you go to a club, you're not supposed to touch the females and things like
you
that.
are
But
not.
talk to the security guard. I mean, look, my brother's gonna say he can't see, and that was an open ticket for me to touch whatever I wanted to. In respect, I didn't, be a hog, and that don't really, whatever, do too much for me. But the fact of it, I was able to touch on a few body parts, and hey, so there are some perks.
Yes. That's so funny that you said that. I didn't have to ask. I just went to the club. I went with my boyfriend. I'm weird like that. That's something that we'll talk about that another time.
Mhm.
But anyway, the girls walked past and they noticed my cane sitting on the table and they asked me what it was. And I told them and they were like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm here with him." So one girl was like, "Do you even know what's going on in here?" I said, "Yeah." She
Ugh.
said, "You want to feel?" I'm like, "Are you
Okay.
serious?"
Hey,
You know
leave
what
him
I mean? So the
in.
girls
No,
wait, like
look,
people will ask you stuff like I said, girls, guys, there are benefits. There are
right.
benefits.
But we want to. I want to touch on that on another subject. We might. We,
On
we might.
another side,
We might do that on our segment called what was it? Doing it
doing
after
it in the dark.
in the dark. I want
Doing
to
it
thank
in the dark.
everybody for supporting us on that because it's gonna get real freaky after a while. But that's another subject. But embrace your blindness. 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 Don't be afraid of who you are and whatnot, what have you. And I want to thank all the people who have commented and have come on the show and has helped us. And please go over and support my girl Jennifer's open book. Give how you spell it one more time.
JINNERFER apostrophe S. I left that out earlier. Space OPEN space BOOK.
So there's a lot of spaces and a lot of things that you can learn on her channel. And believe me, she holding back on my channel because I told her to, not to plan. But on her channel is no filters and whatnot. But again, thanks for subscribing. Hit that notification bell. Um, any any last minutes?
I just want to thank everybody for all of your support here and on my channel. All of the love, I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that we are able to do something to help you through whatever it is that you're going through.
Okay. Well, keep it real on this channel, and I'm about to get ready to go to work. What's in store for you? Oh yeah, you got to go to your little girl's thing.
Yeah, I'm going there later. I'm about to go and clean up this utter atrocity that is her bedroom right now.
Girl, you better leave that alone. I do my little boy stuff like that, and believe me, about 5 minutes later, things are
And
average.
that's what I'm doing it while she at school.
Well, she gonna look. She gonna come back and get it back the way she wanted to be, because that's her mess, and she's embraced that mess. You know what I'm saying? Look how we make the transition. But it's been fun always, and we got some more stuff coming. I'm not gonna let y'all know, but just tune in for real. Thanks for subscribing to Third Eye Visions, and go over there and support Jennifer's open book. And if y'all have any stories, anything y'all want to share, y'all know how to find this. And I am out. Great show.